Hello everyone, welcome to the first session of this subject, Procurement and Contract Law. In this session, we will be studying the definitions of procurement and the importance of that function to an organization. As responsible project managers, we need to learn the role that we need to play in this particular function in order to complete our business projects. What exactly do you mean by procurement? There are so many new words that are being used in business world today, such as procurement, sourcing, buying, contract management, supply chain management. What are all these words? Are they linked or are they being restricted for some territory? These words were not available about 20 years back in the business world. It was called buying, simply buying. But in today's business context, a scientific approach has been applied to this original concept of buying, and these new concepts have come into the picture. In the next few slides, we will go into detail to understand what the definition is and how this will impact our businesses. If you look at a definition of what really procurement is, it's a management function that ensures identification, sourcing, access, and management of external resources that an organization needs or may need to fulfill its strategic objectives. What does that really mean? Every business entity will be investing or spending some money for their business. Each spend needs to be done with careful consideration because every investment has to have a sustainable return. How the procurement function gets linked into this entire cycle is they make sure that they make the right investment in terms of sourcing the correct supply or the service at the correct value. A lot of people are misled with this word procurement because they think procurement is buying something for the most cheapest price. In fact, it is incorrect. Price is just one element of the entire procurement process. The procurement function is responsible in sourcing the goods and services at the correct price, at the correct quantity, and the correct spec. So you put all together, generating the correct value to the amount that you are spending. Also, the procurement division is responsible to explore the market opportunities and to make sure that the correct resources are allocated to make sure that your spend and the source are correct. Every procurement in a project will end with a legal contract. The legal contract could be either a purchase order or a lengthy document which is signed by both parties. In the business world, even the purchase order is considered as a mini contract. If you look into the entire procurement process, very high level, it could be divided into three subsets. The first subset would be the activities you do before the contract is signed, such as planning, identifying the exact needs for this project along with the business users and the project team, analyzing them, trying to source whatever requested or needed for this project, and make sure the correct supplier has been selected considering the overall value to the organization. The second subset would be where you sign the legal contract. As I said earlier, it could be the purchase order or it could be the legal document. The third subset would be you measure the performance of this legal contract, make sure the legal contract is governed and the suppliers will deliver whatever they have promised in that legal contract, so the project will be a success. The procurement function has been identified as a very important aspect of the entire organization. Most of the top organizations in the world make sure that they have a strong procurement team or they outsource their procurement function to a strong and a reliable partner. Few years back, the general perception was the main activity or the duty of a procurement team is to source goods or services at the cheapest price. But in today's world, that perception has been changed. Top organizations have understood the importance of this procurement division and the benefits it can bring onto the business table. The Chartered Institute of Purchase and Supply have identified 7 core benefits that the procurement function can bring into an organization. They are making sure the supply is continuous and secured, lowering your cost, reducing risk, improving the overall quality, adding greater value to the entire organization, increasing of efficiency, and one of the most important aspects in today's world, which is innovation. Since the procurement function has been recognized so much, it has been included as part of the project management body of knowledge. And it states the importance of the procurement function in order to complete important milestones of a project. So, as project managers, it's very important that you all understand the science of procurement and apply those into your day-to-day projects. You all can work with the procurement team and make sure as a team you all bring these benefits to the projects and to the overall organization. Procurement can happen in 2 ways. It could be a direct procurement or it could be an indirect procurement. A direct procurement is where you source a raw material or something directly related to your co-product. An indirect procurement will be where you source something which will support your co-production and the co-product. Let's take an example. Imagine that you are working for an organization that is manufacturing milk powder. So what will be the direct procurements? Of course, the milk, sometimes the milk powder, the direct machines that you all use to convert the milk into a powder, any vitamins which directly goes into the milk powder, all these will be direct procurements. The things which will fall under indirect procurement will be packaging, any marketing sourcing, any maintenance, facilities for the organization, repairing some machineries, which will not directly will be linked to the main product of the organization. In procurement divisions, they will segregate the two functions so that they will focus on their respective functions more. If you look at a procurement process, irrespective of direct or indirect, the high-level steps would be the same. The first step would be the correct identification of the need. In a project, the project team and the project manager, along with the procurement team, needs to identify the exact need for that particular project. And I'm pretty sure it is stated in the charter document as well. The second step would be, based on the needs, researching your market and identifying capable suppliers who can cater your organizational needs. Then you need to communicate with them, contact them, make sure the proposals are received, so you all can start the next step, which is negotiating. During negotiation, you will not negotiate only the price, but you will negotiate the scope as well. And to make sure the supplier is capable and competent enough to provide the scope that is needed for the project. After evaluation and discussion, then both parties can come to an agreement. As stated in the previous slide, the agreement could be either a purchase order or it could be a legal signed document. The procurement process does not stop there. It goes beyond. The function procurement needs to then assess the service of the supplier to make sure whatever they have promised in the contract is delivered. Based on delivery and satisfaction, then the payment has to be made to the supply that they have made. The research shows that procurement departments globally manage around 61% of total enterprise spend and on average makes around 6.7 savings annually. This shows how important a procurement function is to an organization and why the project managers need to work with them in order to make sure the procurement of a particular project is completed successfully. The procurement division will be dealing with so many stakeholders in their business operations. Who is a stakeholder? Simply, a stakeholder is a person that has an interest in your organization. If you take some examples, your customer, your supplier, your distributor, your shareholder, even your neighbor. All these people are stakeholders of an organization. So if you look from a procurement perspective, the suppliers will be on the top of the list because the procurement function acts as a hub between the suppliers and the organizations. The procurement function also has a link to its customers. Every organization provides some sort of a product or a service to their customers, and the procurement division directly gets involved by making sure the correct components or the services as inbound has been sourced. So, very high level, procurement division interacts with so many stakeholders, and it's important to manage these relationships. So during projects, the project manager along with the project team and the procurement division needs to make sure that they handle these relationships very well, so they are very sustainable. I have embedded a link which you can go and watch a video which will give you further details on the respective stakeholders and how to manage them. In this slide, I'm presenting you on how top organizations in the world see the procurement function and how it has evolved from a traditional buying to a scientific sourcing approach. Here we see about 25 points on how the procurement function can add value to an organization. Let us now focus on few of these points. Let's first focus on the 6th point, where they talk about bottom line focus. About 20 years back, when the procurement was considered as traditional buying, the buying team never had a visibility on how they were contributing towards the bottom line of an organization. They were simply focusing on the price, and their duty and the responsibility was buying something for the most cheapest price. But in today's business world, that has changed. The procurement or the sourcing function, they also focus on the bottom line of an organization, because how much you save from your traditional buying process, if your bottom line is not positive, the organization is not making any positive profits. So, in today's world, the KPIs which are given to the procurement division involves making positive contribution to the EBITDA of the organization. Let's focus on another point. Point number 8, global sourcing. The sourcing function has been identified as an important aspect of the entire organization. Top organizations, they set up global sourcing teams. Let's take an example. I'm pretty sure all of you all know the brand Vodafone. Today, Vodafone has one of the strongest global procurement divisions in the world. Even though Vodafone operates in so many countries worldwide, they have a strong centralized procurement team that makes sure that all supplies are continuous to all their operations at the correct value. Just think of a project manager who is working for an organization like Vodafone. It's very organized, systematic, which will help the project managers to manage their projects very well. Simply because the contracts, the prices, the terms, all them will be managed by a central body. So the project managers can directly work with them to make sure the project deliverables are met.